I've watched founders burn over $400,000 building the wrong thing. Not because the developers were bad, not because the idea was wrong, but because they skipped one critical step that nobody talks about. And here's the kicker. These weren't first-time founders. These are people who already had built seven-figure businesses. They were experts in their field, they knew their customers, but when it came to software, they walked into the gym without a program, just grabbing random weights, expecting the muscle to pile on. And the only thing that grows that way is frustration. Why did they do this? Well, they taught good developers to magically figure out what to build. But here's the truth. Developers don't solve strategy, they translate it. And if you hand them bad inputs, you get expensive rubbish out. Think about it like this. Even the best musicians in the world sound awful if you hand them a broken instrument. That's what happens when you try to outsource clarity. You don't get music, you get noise, and it's not the noise you want. So let's really sit with what this feels like. You've got this vision in your head. It makes perfect sense to you. You can see the screens, you can feel the workflows. You know this will change your business. So you hire an agency, or a dev team, or a freelancer. You cut the check, 50K, 100K, maybe more, and you think, finally, I'm getting this thing built. Months go by, the invoices keep coming in, and the updates you get from the devs don't sound like progress. We're just integrating dependencies, we're optimizing the data model, and this translation is just another $10,000 burned and nothing you can show to your customers. You get back screenshots that look nice, beautiful even, but don't align to your vision. Or worse, you get a working app that sometimes aligns, but you can't even modify it without paying more. And the worst part, you start second guessing yourself. You wonder if you're the problem. Maybe I don't get tech. Maybe you should know what Kubernetes is. So you start Googling at 2 a.m. trying to keep up with your dev's jargon, and it just doesn't make any sense. I had one client who'd already hired 3 different agencies before coming to me. 3. They spent over $100,000. They had mockups, code, invoices, and nothing usable. They told me, Imran, I feel stupid. Everyone else seems to get this, but I don't. And that shame is heavy. Because you're not stupid, you're just trying to run your business, but the industry makes you feel like you're the problem. And here's the dark truth. Most founders carry this quietly. You can't talk about it at networking events, you can't admit it to your investors, so you carry it like a weight, all while pretending everything is fine. And that pain doesn't stop with you. It ripples out. Onto your team, confidence erodes. Your employees see money burned, features scrapped, and endless pivots. One founder told me their staff literally started a betting pool wagering on which features would get cut before launch. That's how cynical it got. Your best people start looking elsewhere, your devs stop believing anything will ship, and suddenly morale is gone. And on your business, investors lose patience. Partners stop asking for updates, competitors move faster. I've seen founders completely miss their market window because they were stuck in dev purgatory. And at worst, at home, that's where it hits the hardest. You're working 80 hours a week, trying to patch the holes, you're dipping into savings. I know founders who had to sit their partner down and explain why they needed another loan after burning the first 50K. And that conversation isn't about software anymore, it's about trust. And trust is a hell of a lot harder to rebuild than a code base. And here's the silent killer. It's not just money you're losing, it's time. 6 months, 12 months gone, you can't get it back. And time is the only thing in your business that you cannot get a refund on. So how do you stop this? It starts with killing the biggest lie in this space. The lie is, if I hire good developers, they'll just figure out what I want to build. No, they won't. Developers are translators, not strategists, through no fault of their own. They take your business requirements and they turn them into code. And if your requirements are based on assumptions, you get expensive garbage. The real principle is this: you need to validate before you code. I'll give you a story. I once spent 5 days debugging a system that was, on paper, perfect. Memory clean, logic sound, code bulletproof, and yet it kept crashing in production. I was losing my mind. Then I finally asked the hardware team, how do these cameras actually behave in the wild? So it turns out they had mood swings. 30 frames per second normally, 60 when motion detection kicked in, 2 frames when they tried to save bandwidth, all because a squirrel ran across the lens. 5 days wasted, 10 minutes of reality would have solved it. And founders do the exact same thing. They build systems for a perfectly predictable world that doesn't exist. Reality is messy, payments fail randomly, users ignore your flow, and integrations buckle under real load. The bug isn't in your code, it's in your assumptions. And that's why validation beats speculation every single time. To address this, you need to talk to 5 to 10 people who live with the problem. Show them mockups, watch what excites them, watch what confuses them, build the smallest version that solves one problem, and let reality tell you what to build next. When you validate first, something changes. You stop feeling helpless. You start feeling strategic. Suddenly, developer conversations are clear. No more vague wish lists. You know exactly what matters. You spot padding and fluff instantly, and the anxiety lifts. You're no longer wasting 6 months and $100,000 on random reps. You're training with purpose, making every move count. One of my clients went from feeling like a fraud in tech meetings to confidently presenting a technical roadmap to investors. And here's the thing, they didn't learn to code, they learned to validate. And that's the identity shift. From a non-technical founder hoping developers figure it out to a strategic business owner who uses software as a tool. And the energy flips. You start to actually enjoy the process because every week you see progress. And trust me, momentum is addictive. And the ripple effect flips too. On your team, morale returns. Developers build with confidence because the requirements are validated. They know why they're building, not just what, and they take pride in shipping features that stick. And on your business, you spend a fraction of the money and get 10 times the results. You ship faster, investors see competence instead of chaos, competitors wonder how you're moving so quickly, and at home, that awkward tension just disappears. There's no more stressful dinner table conversations. Your partner actually brags, yeah, he's building this amazing software and it works. And that's not just relief, that's pride. And the bigger picture, you evolve. You become the founder who cracked the code, the one other business owners came to for advice, because you figured out how to think about software strategically, not just technically. And once you learn that, you're dangerous in the best way possible. So here's what I want you to do. If you've got a software idea or you're mid-project and it doesn't feel right, book a strategy session with me. In 90 minutes, we'll cut through the noise. I'll show you exactly what to validate before you build, where your assumptions might be wrong, and what to do if you're already stuck. And this isn't a sales pitch. I've told clients not to build before because it would have wasted their money and my time. Sometimes the best advice is you simply don't. But if there is something worth building, I promise you leave with a clear plan that protects your time, your money, and your sanity. Links in the description, and even if you don't book a call, take this with you. You always want to validate before you code. You want to land something before you scale it. You want to loop on feedback before you launch, and that's the formula. That's how you stop burning money and start building leverage.